listeners, thanks for joining in. Welcome to another HR Today educational podcast. In this series, we aim to provide you the latest workforce management approaches and best practices in HR. I'm Debbie Bola, Vice President and Editorial Director of HR Today magazine. HR and TA teams are facing many obstacles today stemming from the massive disruption and change over the last 2 years. When it comes to hiring, new research from Broadleaf shows that the number one challenge is the quality of the talent pool, with an overwhelming 54% of respondents agreeing. Many organizations are seeking out different solutions in order to find and hire the best people, and an RPO partnership is certainly one that drives success. But where should organizations begin? Luckily, I have an expert here with me today to help answer that question and more. Gregory Gary is Senior Director of Business Development for Broadleaf. In this role, Greg is responsible for working with clients to build total talent management solutions that provide greater workforce visibility and insights, enhance compliance and risk mitigation, improve efficiency, and drive measurable and sustainable results. Broadleaf is built on a consultative approach to total talent management that offers organizations complete end-to-end talent solutions that solve their diverse workforce needs. Thanks, Greg, for joining me today. How can RPO support organizations and TA teams during the current talent shortage?
That's an excellent question. It goes without saying we all understand the shortage and what we're dealing with. You've heard terms like war for talent, the great resignation. It's something that's a challenge for everyone around the world. And what we've noticed that's really been great is that RPO is giving you another opportunity to find your talent. People have switched. In the old days, it used to be, I have my temporary staff or my contingent workforce over here. I have my direct staff over here. And we're going to make plans and strategies that only focus on those two ways separate. Well, what the pandemic has forced us into, and these talent shortages have forced us into, is now organizations have gotten smart and wiser in a different way and stating, hey, no longer do I care what slot you fit in, find me the talent. And then from there, we'll find a way to get them involved with the organization. And that's where really RPO and these types of solutions have taken a stronger hold of the market. RPO is allowing you as an organization to really have a second arm, to have an extension to your present team that has the ability to look in some other areas that maybe you're not set up to look into. So at the end of the day, an RPO is going to help you fill your funnels. It's going to support your internal recruiting team. Most importantly, it's going to help you find the best talent no matter where it's coming from. I think one of the bigger parts connected to that has been in direct sourcing. That's another piece that now we've seen either in an MSP world or in the RPO world, and that's been huge because that's allowing us, Broadleaf, to be able to create a new custom talent pool for the clients. We're able to now look at silver medalists. What are we doing with those second and third candidates that really fit a program or fit your job, but you just didn't have a job for them yet? We're going to stay on top of that. What about your alumni hiring? Those people who have left that have a bevy of knowledge available if you can just find them. We're going to make sure that you have an avenue to keep those alumni involved, those silver medalists involved. So we think that's going to be another part that's pretty big in how RPO can support your organization. In a day and age where there is such a shortage of talent, it is critical that from day one, the candidates are having a good experience. We recently did a survey, and it showed that 81% of the candidates out there, the number one thing they wanted was a good relationship with whomever they were speaking. They wanted communication. Those who stayed on top of communication gave an experience for each of those candidates that was very positive, and they leaned more toward taking those jobs versus those ones where there weren't communication. That is another piece that we bring in from an RPO perspective, is a systemic approach, ensuring we are touching the candidate constantly as a means of communicating and giving them a very positive A-plus experience. And lastly on there, I think, as we were starting to mention, speed, time to fill. There's that famous saying, time kills all deals. Well, what we've learned is as TA staffs are being taxed at a different level, the speed has been sacrificed. From an RPO, we're going to ensure that that doesn't happen. We're going to continue to make sure things are happening quickly so that it allows us to fill these positions with quality people. It's an efficient process, lower cost, and a higher visibility into what those folks are doing.
So by leveraging RPO, what are some of the other benefits organizations will experience?
There's 8 different areas that we would say are your true benefits. The first would be operational efficiency. The second, time savings, and I touched a little bit upon that a minute ago. Another very important one, cost containment. This is huge. Typically, what we're seeing out there is that a lot of companies are reaching out to search firms. Well, these firms are charging you 25 to 35% for each of these candidates that they're providing you. And typically, these candidates aren't solely exclusive to that one client. Those search firms are fishing these people out. Their goal is to get these people somewhere because that's how they're going to get paid. Well, with an RPO, the part that is much better for a client is, number one, it's an exclusive relationship. So any of these candidates, they're only being presented to that particular client. That's definitely a huge deal and something that's big. And also what you're seeing is most RPOs are coming in on a cost per hire somewhere between 5 to 12% of that first year earning or salary, which is exponentially lower than what you're going to get from those direct search firms. So time savings, cost containment, big. Hiring flexibility and versatility. Again, we're having exclusive relationships with you. So in these particular moments, there's a lot more versatility that we have. We've got that candidate. We can look at unique ways to go about this. We talked about it as an RPO. There are other avenues that we can also look. But that's what's great is you get that versatility and that flexibility, which are critical in today's society. On top of that, we've got candidate quality, better or greater compliance. And 2 of the last ones, and I'll spend a second or 2 on these, access to the latest technology and tools, as well as custom hiring strategies. The tools is a big part. As a company, you're typically going to choose 2 or 3 different types of tools which you're going to utilize, be it to source, recruit, attract, retain. Whatever the case is, most companies have 2 or 3 different ways that they're going to look at. With an RPO, what you're able to bring in are several additional ways of going about finding that talent. What we'll do from a hiring strategy perspective is look to see, what are you doing well? What are the tools that you've been using? Let's continue to use those, but where can we enhance that experience, enhance that ability? And that's when we're going to bring in these additional tools that will help. Then from a technology perspective, another important part, typically you have an ATS, we also have CRM and various other tools that we utilize, from texting, text bots, various types of tools that you may or may not be using, but we use them and we use them consistently, so we've built strategies connected to that. So earlier I had mentioned direct sourcing. This is big within the technology world. There are a couple of different technologies that we've been fortunate to utilize, and what they've provided is that artificial intelligence technology, allowing us to capture different types of talent pools and bring them all to one in a system that's going to build us a database or a talent pool that's going to be really helpful and advantageous to every company that's utilizing it.
Now, what types of RPO models are popular, and how can organizations select the right ones for the business goals?
Oh, that's a very, very good question. Different people will use different terms. So what we do is kind of focus on what is it that you're really trying to do. There are a couple of different models that we would talk upon. If your goal is to have a scalable solution, that's where on-demand would come in. On-demand handles, maybe there's some spikes, so you're going to need someone to come in for 3, 6, 8 months to handle a spike. On-demand is one of those very good ones. Also, project-based. That's best for supplementing. You've got a great TA team, but yet you need to supplement some of that. Project-based is a great way of going about that. Another model that is very common in the industry is the enterprise model. And this is one that's best for efficiency of buy versus build. This is really that one in which an organization may say, we don't want to build our team, or we don't have the time, resources, or intelligence to build this type of team. And in that particular case, you would then choose to outsource the entire process. So it would be more of an end-to-end lifecycle recruitment process, and you could just hand that over to another organization. We see that one to often be very common with smaller companies or mid-level companies that just don't have a big TA department. Recognize the importance of it, but also recognize that trying to build their own would not bring them the levels of success in the time frames that they need. Thus, they would send it out to an RPO and allow them to run their entire enterprise. And then the last one is total talent management. This is often where we're looking at not just RPO from a direct side of the house, but also RPO from a contingent side. This is one in which it's going to allow you to take the best of both worlds. Maybe you do have good suppliers that are providing quality people on one side, and maybe you still need more help from an RPO perspective on the direct side. It allows us the opportunity to find your talent and fit them into your organization so that you're continuously getting the best possible candidates, no matter their classification.
Now that we know more, what would you recommend to ensure a successful RPO partnership?
The best thing we can tell anyone is understand what you need. Take the time to assess your existing recruiting strategies, your processes, even more importantly, the goals that you've built that you haven't been able to reach, the goals that you have moving forward, and from there, determine the best path forward. Those that have built a strong strategy are having success. Those that haven't may have success, but they haven't seen it at the same level as others. Another piece that's really critical to the success of your RPO partnership, this needs to be a mutual investment and value. We need for you to be there to have that sponsorship to continue to ensure that this is going to go through. And one of the things that we've noticed is that oftentimes there may be a part of the process that a company has had in the past that maybe needs to be altered. Maybe it can be enhanced in a way. Well, in order for that to happen, we need there to be that investment on the client side to say, hey, we're in on this change management. We understand it needs to be done, and we will stay focused fully as we continue through this process. And then I would say the last part is an integrated relationship. It's critical that as this starts, we're building trust with each other. We're building rules of engagement. We're building issue resolution processes. Everything we do, we want to do it together because we're an extension of you. So it's important that as we go out to market, we're able to talk about your brand. We're able to talk about your process. We're able to really hone in on the things you do very well as those areas in the process that we want to continue to optimize. We can hone into all of them and really spend time together building a strategy that's going to make this a very successful partnership.
Thanks, Greg. That was some great advice on how to build a successful RPO partnership. Until next time, listeners, I'm Debbie Bola.